Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio, and we are back. We are back to the show. We appreciate everybody who has been rocking with us on Facebook Live, and we're thanking everybody that has been rocking with us on TuneIn and on Streamer, and didn't get an opportunity to thank those folks that are listening to the replays on iTunes as well as on YouTube. Definitely make sure that you guys, if you like what you're hearing, that you let other folks know how they can be down with Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. So at this time, I'm going to introduce my little sis, dating pool diva, as we get into the Diva Diaries. And here we go.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. What's happening?
My theme music is on.
It's on. Go ahead. Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah.
It's still weird.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You make fun of me every time, but
Every
you wish
time.
you had this swag, okay?
No, I'm actually glad that I don't.
I can't even hear the music, so I'm just like imagining I can hear it.
We get feedback, so that's the
I
reason why.
understand.
Yeah, that's why I can't make
I just play it in my head.
Yeah, but the listeners can hear it. They can hear it. They can hear it.
All right, so I have something interesting as my first opening topic. It was on Facebook, and someone posted it. I can't remember who, but I thought it was the funniest thing. Okay, so imagine you are, and Thanksgiving's coming up, you're going to your man or woman's grandma's house, okay? And when you get to their grandma's house, the ex-girlfriend is there. The ex-girlfriend fixes your significant other a plate. What do you do? What would you do? Who wants to answer first?
What is she doing there?
Well, grandma apparently liked the ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the situation may be. So what are you going to do?
I need to take grandma in the other room and have a talk with her. I mean,
Not my grandma, you don't.
Exactly.
You don't know my grandma.
So you would take grandma to the side and ask her a few
Yeah.
questions.
that's what I'd want to do. I think you would just be polite and stay the least amount of time that you possibly can because it's going to be awkward, obviously.
Right. It is going to be awkward.
Not for me.
What would you do, big brother Joe?
Well, I mean, if my ex fixed me a plate, then it would be cool because I don't have no problems like that, to tell you the truth, because I'm a grown man. See?
That's right.
And what you do is you just get you a plate and, well, I'm lying just a little bit. I would probably sit that plate down. I mean, you can't be respectful. First of all, it depends on how the plate was given. If it was given out of love and caring, then I would accept the plate. I probably wouldn't eat the plate. I probably would set the plate there for a little bit later on and then, allow my lady to go get my plate. But that's why I go get my own plate to begin with.
Right.
Because then you don't have them issues to start.
Okay.
It shouldn't be an issue, though. Everybody should be grown and adults enough to be able to be like, it's just a plate of food, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch it for you. Let's say that her ex-boyfriend is there and fixes her a drink.
Okay.
What you gonna do?
Let me think. Honestly, to tell you, you talking about me now, right?
Yeah, you.
I really don't care, to tell you the truth. It doesn't bother me. I'm not a jealous person, so one way or the other, I don't give a flip. Great, you made one. That means I don't have to get up. Hey, why you over there? Make two, bro.
That's what I would say, something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Gonna make me one while you pouring drinks.
Or maybe he's there to be the bartender.
Yeah,
Well,
just
I know,
for his woman.
I know for
Yeah.
me, my ex-girlfriend, my mom loved her. So she's at all the functions. And we broke up about 2 years after high school. But to this day, she come to all the functions. So I had to let them know. I was like, my mom love this girl. This the one she want me to be.
Right.
Her daughter. So call
Okay,
her.
we have
You're
a
on the
caller
line.
coming in.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing good. What's your name, brother?
DJ El Duro.
Hey, DJ Oduro, one of my bestest friends in the world. How are you doing?
Well, I was
You
calling
calling
to
to give me
ask
some trouble?
author Charisma to marry me.
Yes, I will marry you, DJ Oduro.
Okay, thank you so much. I love you all. Great show, Marcus.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. You want to comment on the question on the
I'm
floor?
gonna kill you after this.
Did you hear
Do
the
I want to
question?
comment on the question?
Did you hear the question, brother?
where babies come from?
No, that wasn't it. Stop it. Okay, you want me to repeat it?
Go ahead, refresh me, Marcus.
I'm gonna let the diva do that. Go ahead, diva.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it. So this is something I found on Facebook, and the situation is, okay, let's say me and you are together, and we go to your grandma's house. Your grandma invites your ex-girlfriend to the house, and ex-girlfriend fixes you a plate. And so what would be your reaction to that?
I think I would actually leave.
You would get up and leave.
Yeah, I think I would, because there would be a lot of tension there.
Okay. What do
Seriously.
you think I should do?
I think you should go with me.
Okay, so we both just get up and leave. I don't slap her.
Well, I
or
mean,
nothing
you
like
just
that.
you just wouldn't get up and you would kind of excuse yourself, or kind of make an excuse so you wouldn't, get your grandmother upset. But you also have to remember, a lot of our parents or grandparents and stuff like that, if they like your ex, they'll do kind of, bad things on the side to try to get you two back together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That has happened in my family before. Like my mom used to like my ex-girlfriend. She doesn't like my current girlfriend. So, I mean, parents will do bad things. Grandparents will do bad things. So I think I would professionally, or in a nice way, excuse myself and my girlfriend.
That's the high road. You're taking the high road. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. And hey, look, man, congratulations on many years on the radio, Marcus. God bless you, bro.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for saying those kind words, and I appreciate you, man. You have a good night, okay?
You too, brother.
All right,
Bye-bye.
brother. Peace. And Steppin with Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We got a couple of hits in social media. Bear with me, Diva. Let me get a couple of these out. WB says nobody's eating that plate. It's about being it's not about being an adult. It's about respect. Tiffany says, "Oh hell no." Shayna says, "That's not happening. Ain't no ex-girlfriends coming around. Hell yeah, slap you." Slap her.
Yes,
slap
Team
her charisma.
Shayna,
She
yes.
said, our brother Juan is checking us out, big bro.
What do you do, Juan?
He says, go ahead and tell Joe, tell them I'm a grown man. I ain't going nowhere. So,
That what I'm saying.
yeah.
You
So,
guys should have seen some of the comments online. They were hilarious. Some people were like, "I would just toss the plate up in the air." Like it was all kinds of responses.
But you can't do that at grandma's
yeah,
house.
that's drama. That's
Hey,
drama.
Diva, you know
Find
what
out
though?
if she has a dog. It might be hungry.
Yeah, somebody said that. Feed the dog.
Because think about it. That's kind of being a little bit of a dog
Right.
without saying a bad word.
Hey, but
Without
Diva, don't
saying
you think people have to be adult about it, though? I mean,
Yeah.
just
People aren't
because.
going to be
But
adult
she's
about
not
it.
being an adult about it.
Well, but that's just that cattiness. Sometimes, all the ladies, no disrespect, but sometimes the ladies feel a little bit insecure about losing the dude, and then he gonna feed off of that. Because I'm gonna tell, as a grown man, I'm gonna tell there's 3 other men sitting here, I would probably feed off it a little bit. I would let it show, because
Right.
I got to go home with the one I'm with
Oh,
now.
yeah. And if you,
That's
if
true.
you,
That's true.
if you feed off it and she sees that, oh,
Yeah, you getting your head chopped off.
Yeah,
But
you're going to get it.
I'm like,
It's going to be a long drive home.
A long drive.
that's why you
But,
turn up
but
the
why
music,
is she
though.
there? I mean, think about it. I mean, she's only there. She knows it's going to cause problems.
Yes.
But you know what? Does it have to cause a problem,
It
though?
doesn't have to, but she.
But that's her purpose.
That's her purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her
Yeah.
You
purpose.
know, I mean, she wasn't invited by him. She's
But
not
that's
a family
grandma house.
But that's grandma's house.
Yeah,
I can't
know.
tell grandma
I
who
know
to invite
it's
to grandma's
grandma's
house.
Grandma invited her, so she was like, I'm coming.
Well, listen, Pete, what do you think? You haven't chimed in yet. What do you think?
First of all, I would just like to say, shut up, Big Bro Joe. And then second of all, I would just like to say, since we know that this show is Ain't No Half Steppin', I would like to call most of you all storytellers. Because first of all, sisters, you all know that's not happening. Because number one, you better call to see who's there before we even get there. And number two, if she is there, that's not going to happen, because once I come into the picture, then everybody else from the past just needs to cease and desist.
They gonna just downside.
So yeah, no, so that wouldn't happen. I mean,
But what
once
if you
we
got
walk
kids,
in the door,
though?
what?
Because, what if you got kids with that
No,
person?
no,
And they
because,
having to show up because it was
again-
grandma, and grandma, you got kids with that person and stuff like that.
But
And
she
right,
don't have
and
to
you
fix my
know-
man a plate.
And you know when you
Well, you should
take
have got up and fix your man a plate.
Maybe she beat me to it.
You slow. I'm
Maybe
hungry.
it's a gesture of friendship.
okay, well let's just for real be real. Once
Maybe
once
it's
the new
not.
one comes in, the old one goes out. So that she's not gonna be at any more family functions.
But let's just
no more.
But one thing
No
for sure,
more.
ain't nothing going down in grandma's house.
Ain't nothing go. Yeah,
Ain't
let's just be
nothing
real.
going down in
Ain't
grandma's
nothing
house.
going down at grandma's house. You know she got that cast iron skillet sitting.
But
in
the
the cut.
I think the reality of the situation that even though something might not go down at grandma's house, that conversation when y'all leave is going to happen.
Yeah.
And WB actually probably has the comment of the whole segment here. He said that he ain't feeding into the BS. She an ex for a reason, and so
Real talk.
yeah,
WB.
yeah. I mean, because I look at it like this. I mean, if she's the mother of your children, then I mean, it may be awkward that she's there, but it's a little bit more understandable because she's the mother of the children.
Right.
She need to be feeding her own children and not my man.
I'm talking about in the building. I'm not talking about.
No, she does not need to be there. Why is she
No,
there?
no, no.
Well,
She
let me-
does not need
no.
to be there.
I take
Or
that back.
we don't need to be there.
Because
Pick one.
the mother of your children is
She
different.
does not
Even though
need
y'all
to be
not
there.
together, y'all need to agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
At
no.
least for the kids that y'all need to get along.
Okay, so
she's
you'll
gonna
take
be
them
there.
by her house when we're done at my new family's
But
house.
she doesn't.
No.
Why is she fixing him a plate?
Well, I didn't get a chance to
I
finish.
think
Yeah,
the
the
point.
plate
Let me-
part
let me
is-
let me
the
finish
plate
point.
part is all the line.
Let me finish the point that I was making. If she's the mother of the children, you know, because I've seen this firsthand. It doesn't have to be drama. The question that was asked is drama inducing, and so there's two things that I'm dealing with here in my answer. I'm dealing with first, she's there, then the plate. Like WB said, and I agree with them, she don't need to be fixing them no plate. Because all that is trying to create and stir up some stuff.
And my man-
there's no reason. Let me finish.
Okay,
And
I'm
there's no reason for that to even happen. And if he takes the plate, then he deserves whatever he gets from
Oh,
his
yeah,
from
that's
his,
what I was
from,
gonna
from,
say.
from
He
his lady.
better not take a
Wh-
bite of that plate.
whatever she decides to give him. As far as her being there, I mean that's not cool.
Y'all
Grandma?
gonna need to give him the Heimlich maneuver.
Grandma, that's not cool. You know we ain't together. Why are you trying to stir up some stuff?
Right.
But are you gonna tell grandma that?
I would because I think a lot of us, to be, and let's be frank for a minute, because we all grown here. I think we overstate certain things with regards to respect that we have for our elders. Because if your grandmother pulls some bullshit like that, you need to pull it to the side and be like, that ain't cool, grandma. Like, for real. Like, why did you do that? You know the position you just put me in. You know what I mean? So you're gonna hold the respect line and say, well, grandma can do whatever she wants because she's grandma. Hell no. Grandma just put me in the middle of some stuff I gotta go home and deal with.
Actually, no, grandma didn't. If you're not man enough to sit there and circumvent the situation, period, point blank, like you just sit there and use that first, you put a period on the end of that, and if your chick is with you and that's the new chick, and you be like, no, I don't want that plate, keep it moving.
Well, yeah,
then,
but
grandma,
I think,
you can't sit there. And
I think we're introducing multiple things into the equation because it's a no-brainer that you don't eat the plate. You don't eat the
yeah,
food.
we all agree.
We
don't
agree.
eat the
We
plate.
agree that we don't eat.
We already
we
know
don't,
it.
you don't eat the plate.
She might
Don't
have slipped
touch
some
the
rat
plate.
paws
But
in
what,
that
Don't
thing.
touch
but
the
what
plate.
I'm dealing with now is why is she here?
She gets punched in the face.
Well, I know
Why is
Straight
she
up.
here?
She just gets
we
punched
got a
in
hit
the
from
face.
Shayna. Shayna said right to what you said, Jane. Ain't no woman fixing my man a plate.
Yeah,
So she definitely agrees
All he
with
has
you.
to do is say, guess what? My tastes have changed.
yeah. How
I
about
have
that?
different flavors, and none of them are on this plate.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So-
let me
That's
ask
true.
the guys the
That's
question.
a good
Big Bro
answer.
Joe, Marcus J, and Mr. 3375. Okay, so are we staying?
This is my grandma. She can go. This is my
Okay,
grandma.
okay, so
For
okay,
first of all,
fine.
I
Okay,
like
so
she can go.
Okay,
First of
so-
all, I like to eat.
Okay.
I ain't leaving the food.
All right. So my question is, now that we're staying, are you going to tell her to go?
No.
Oh well,
But you can't eat,
come
have
on.
your plate
That
and
is
eat
so,
it too.
okay,
I
and
mean,
that's a breakup right there. That is
That's
such
a
a breakup. That
problem.
is so
For one.
disrespectful.
But you know
That's
what though?
disrespectful.
But you know what though? I mean, that's a fair question and it's a fair position to take. You know, and it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago and what WB just said. Like, grandma, why she here? Look at the drama that you just created. Now I got to deal with angry woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't do nothing wrong. All I did was show up at my grandmother's house.
If
Right,
it was
right.
if it was my kids' mama, I wouldn't tell her to leave because she's there. Like my family, we just don't roll like that. Like I roll over my cousin's house, both of her stepdaddy and her real daddy there,
What you
and
gonna
they get
do with the
along
plate?
just fine.
What you gonna do with the plate?
He already answered that.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, we already
Now
answered that.
you throw it away. Okay.
Michelle K and
First of all,
WB
it's-
both have very similar comments. WB says Grandma knows better. He says he would. I guess he's agreeing with me, like check Grandma, because you need to check Grandma. And Michelle K says Grandma was just wrong. Grandma wanted some drama to happen. Yeah, and now you just got it. I mean,
I think y'all putting way too much emphasis on what Grandma might have done in her house. You can't stop that woman from inviting nobody to her house at all, period.
Yeah.
That's just like me telling you, Marcus J., you know I'm not going to, how can I sit there and tell you you can't invite somebody to your house? I can't do that.
Yeah.
So you just have to maneuver around the situation. Most of the time, as I'm stating, if you're a grown man, you're able to handle that situation.
Right.
And if you with the new lady, then be like, look, you see this bullshit
you
for
know
what
what?
it is.
You know what else I think we should introduce here? You also got to know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, then there
Because
you go
there's
again.
because
Yeah.
there's different types of temperament and there's different types of people. You might be with new lady, and new lady is like, cool, I'ma flaunt my fly ass all in her face and let her see what she's missing.
Right.
Or you could be like, she could be like, well, if she's staying, I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you
It
you
depends,
have to
yeah.
temper your reaction to
Agreed,
who you're
agreed.
dealing
I
with.
agree
And
with
you
that.
have to care about your woman's feelings.
Yeah, and
not
that
just
needs to be
grandma's.
paramount.
Do you know what I would do if it happened to me? I would turn to him and say, this is your situation to handle.
And that,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's fair
And
too.
I would
I can
stay
appreciate
because
that.
he
Amen.
invited me and
Right.
I'm with him. And then I would sit back and say, I'm getting my own plate
especially
now.
when-
or a drink, even better.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially if it's an ambush. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you roll up at your grandmother's house with your lady, and then you walk in and you see your ex. I mean, you got to figure that. I mean, I don't know how the question was asked, Diva, but is it assumed that he knew that she would be there? Because if he knew that she would be there, then I think it's fair, like
was
First
no
Lady
assumption.
said, why even go?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
then those
there
are some
was no
other questions
assumption.
that
He
if
just
you
showed up.
if
and-
you initiate that, there's some other questions that got to be asked. 'Cause-
I mean, if it was just grandma, I still think that is your grandma, not mine.
No, yeah.
It is your situation to handle.
Yeah.
I'm here. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to have a good time. This is not going to ruin my Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a jealous type either.
Yeah.
And you chose to be with me, not her. I mean, maybe she has nothing else to do or can't find a new boyfriend. I don't know the situation. I don't really care. I just know that it's your situation to deal with, and I'm going to have a good time.
Couple of more comments here. Shayna says grandma probably likes the ex and not the new. WB says she got to go. Yes, I'm telling her she has to go. She not part of the family no more. If you break up with me, you break up with my family. First Lady is definitely agreeing with you on that one, WB. Juan says, let's not sell the wife so short. My wife would be woman enough to stay there and stand by my side as she should. We cannot allow others to dictate what we do based on their actions. So, a lot of good comments.
Exactly.
Those
You
were
know,
very
a lot of good,
comments.
a lot of good comments. I think it just really does depend on, the dynamics and who you're dealing with.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. How many, by the show of hands, have seen the Michel'le biopic? All right, I got Marcus J. and Lissa P. That's it? Oh, and JT.
I seen half of it.
You seen about half. How did you only watch half? It was
Yeah.
really good.
I don't know how you watched half of that, bro.
Because I came in on it late.
That's
You
a
came in on it
Yeah.
late.
That's
Oh, you
a-
saw the second half.
Yeah.
That's
on
a,
Lifetime, right?
That's a train wreck. You can't take your eyes
on
off right
YouTube,
there.
too.
Yeah.
It's on
Yeah.
YouTube.
But I
Yeah,
know,
that's
I
why I
know,
watched it on YouTube.
I know the comments. It was the comments after was crazy.
Yeah.
From,
Yeah.
from the people.
Yeah, it was a very interesting story, and I had no idea. Like, I knew Suge Knight was shady, but I didn't know about Dr. Dre. Like, that was
Oh,
my
yeah.
boy. I even had a crush on him and everything. And so now I look at him side-eye like, wow, you was just beaten down.
I mean,
holding
I
little
mean,
Michel'le.
yeah, but I knew about what's D?
D-Night?
No,
D. Barnes. Yeah,
D.
the,
Barnes. Yeah, I remember when
older
that.
lady.
I remember when that happened. Like he choked her in the
Choke
bathroom.
D-Bonds out.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, so watching that and this being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I figured that maybe we could discuss, how do
Absolutely.
you recognize the signs and the patterns of domestic violence in relationships? Anybody want to chime in on that?
well, I don't have any experience with it. I've never beat a woman, and I don't have any women close to me that have shared with me that they have been beaten. Now, do I think that I have women around me that have been beaten? Absolutely.
Right.
But not that I am that I have direct knowledge of.
A lot of times people don't notice it because, like Michel'le in the film wore a lot of makeup and stuff to cover it up.
This one's really personal to me because, you know, I have a sister and I have a daughter, and, you know, I knew, you know, my sister's husband before she did. You know, we all grew up together, and I remember thinking, you know, my sister was like my first favorite person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she was mine. I'm 5 years older. Like, she was mine. That's my baby.
Right.
You know, and big bro, I know how you are with your sister.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that's a life sentence that I would have no problem serving. you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You know, so I just, it's one of those, I can't even talk right now.
Right, it would really mess you
well,
up if
I'm
that
I'm
happened.
getting angry even thinking about it. I mean, I remember watching in the movie, she's asleep. He came home, just started beating her in her sleep. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, she had done nothing. She hadn't said anything to him. He was just really drunk and just out of control.
And then he started crying, and she consoled him.
Like, after he beat her.
But you know
Yeah.
what? That's when you ask what some of those key triggers things are. Most of the time, the women in the situations, they do go back, and
Yes.
they feel that it's a regressiveness that they actually facilitated them getting beat.
Right. She
I
was
can-
taught that.
She was taught that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know several ladies that have been in those situations, and it's bad because me being me, and Marcus J will tell you, listen, P will tell you, they know me. They know how my temper can get. And what really angers me, probably beyond anything, is, first of all, you're not a man. Why you want to put your hands on somebody? Come on, put your hands on me.
Right.
How about that first? But then you think about what happened to even get your mindset to want to go do that type of thing to a woman. And that's just the way I was taught. Now, don't get it twisted. Mama said, everybody keep your hands in your pocket. Don't nobody get in trouble.
Right.
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 But honestly, I mean, you look at me right now, being 6'4", 290. What would if I put my hands on you? You can't physically hurt me.
I'm glad
Right.
that you said that. I'm glad that you said that because for the purposes of this discussion, you about Suge Knight's size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Diva, you about Michel'le's size.
right.
And so we have a real example of the difference right in front of us, you know? And as we watched the movie, see, I knew about the Dre thing. I didn't know anything about the Suge Knight. I didn't know she was with him. Watching the movie, I was like, damn, she was with Suge too. You know, I just didn't know. And it's always bad when a man puts his hands on a woman. But visually, when you see
this little
this
tiny
hulking
woman.
man
Yeah.
doing this, you know, and I think what is unfortunate is a lot of times we can become desensitized to it. Let me get a couple of comments in here on social media. Shayna says that she was in a domestic relationship for a long time. You never know. It's not easy to get out of. The movie will definitely help a lot of people. Let's see. Dana Marie, who joined us in the first segment, says these mental issues, unfortunately, can stem back to your childhood. I absolutely agree
Yeah.
with that. And that goes for the man and the woman.
Okay, I'm
It's
glad
a
you made
cycle.
that.
It's
I'm
a
glad you
cycle.
make that clarification because it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I'm sorry, but you still don't get a pass.
Oh,
just
no,
because
absolutely not.
As a man, you don't get a pass. Ooh, and I'm gonna use that word very, very loosely, as far as the word man is concerned. Because just as you're a male, I won't say man because men don't put their hands on women. Sorry, let's just be clear. Males will.
I was married a long time ago. I was in my 20s. And the man I married, we had this situation. And it was funny because I remember the first time he hit me. I'd never, ever, ever had a man hit me. So I didn't understand what was happening. And you would think that right away you leave, but you're married. You know, you're in this
Right.
situation. And it never occurred to me why women stay in that, but I understand it. I didn't stay long because it kept happening over and over. And you get to one part where you're fearful. And his was, he was drunk. And whenever he drank, he did this. He would come home and he would verbally abuse me. And then when I wouldn't do what he wanted. He worked like a night shift where he got off at 11 and he always wanted dinner waiting. And that's just not me. And so I was like, I don't know what you want. And sometimes I wouldn't even be up, but he would be mad and he'd come in my bedroom and kick me and throw things at me and get up and fix me something. And this lasted about a year and a half. And I mean, the cops came to our house all the time.
Wow.
And when they would come, he would make me go in the bedroom and shut the door and say, "You be quiet. Or
Wow.
I'll kill you." You know, obviously I felt threatened and I didn't do
Farrah
anything.
Fawcett.
I don't want to take over your segment, Diva, but it's making
Yes, sir.
me think about a couple of things that we're seeing, not just this movie, but New York Football Giants
Yeah,
kicker,
the kicker.
Josh Brown.
Right.
And Big Rube and I had this conversation last Friday when the story broke, and I didn't know, because I knew the kind of show that we were having tonight, I didn't know if we were going to even get into this. But with your permission, I would like to expand this a little bit beyond
Sure.
just a Michel'le movie, because we know what happened. And this ain't no NFL story, y'all. I'm not going to bore you with sports talk. Like, this is some real stuff beyond that. You know, we know what happened with Ray Rice.
Yes.
And Ray Rice, the football player from a couple of years ago, you know, just to make sure that we understand the situation with that. The league found out that he was beating her. They gave him a 2-game suspension. And before he had an opportunity to serve the 2-game suspension is when the tape came out, when we saw him
The
beating
elevator
her.
thing,
The
right?
elevator tape,
Yeah.
right. So they knew that there was a problem. But when that tape came out is when the outrage came. But they had already, in air quotes, dealt with it.
Right.
So they changed the punishment structure because of the Ray Rice situation from, 2 games or whatever it was to an automatic 6-game suspension if you are caught doing this, beating your lady up.
Right.
The reason why the Josh Brown situation is outrageous is because in 2015 at the Pro Bowl, at the Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, whichever one it was, this dude was so drunk that he was stalking her. They had to move her from room to room to room to room to room because she was petrified of him. Now, they've since divorced, but the Giants signed him to a 2-year contract after that.
After the Pro Bowl. Yep.
After that.
Wow.
After that.
It's
And
a slap in the face.
It's an embarrassment, especially when we already had the Ray Rice situation as precedent at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get to my ultimate point in a minute, but 1-game suspension is what he got until last week when a lowly reporter from wherever the hell he's from, and no disrespect to him, but I say it that way because the big and powerful NFL couldn't get the paperwork and the journals and all of that stuff where he talks about how he's basically he's an asshole who beats her up regularly.
Yeah, he admitted it.
And he admitted it and all of this kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of components, and you got a lot of folks in social media that want to make it racial, and we could go there, but I don't want to do that. Where I want to go with it is to continue with the consistency that you brought up, Diva, about domestic violence. And how is it that we as men, how do we feel about domestic violence as men when Josh Brown wasn't cut the day the Giants found out about this? Why didn't he get cut that day? Not only did he not get cut, but he got a 2-year contract extension. Men, Mr. 3375, Big Bro Joe. I mean, y'all are Cowboys fans, I'm a Giants fan, but this ain't got nothing to do with football right now. This has everything to do with we as men. What are we going to do? It's an embarrassment that he's still in the league for this to even have come out and been a story.
Well, I mentioned this on the show before. I lost 2 good friends over domestic violence. Both was eventually killed by their spouses. So, all of this always hit home for me. And it's crazy that they even gave him a contract or even thought about giving him a contract. And for him not to get cut, We just really need to look at the upper organizations of that, of the Giants and where they had at. Is he beating his wife? Like really.
It's bad that we place such little value on people, and we place such high value on money and materialistic things, and to keep the train, as it may be, moving. And that's what the issue is, folks. I mean, but we can tie everything back into everything that we've seen with the NFL lately. We can tie it all back in. It's the train moving. And nobody wants to stop that train.
Yeah.
It's a money thing. And you think about the Giants. Marcus J., like you said, I'm a Cowboys fan. I couldn't respect Jerry Jones. Well, not like I do a whole lot now, but I couldn't respect him if he allowed one of his players to sit there. Now, and the Cowboys were what? They were known for doing some.
Well, I don't want to stop you there. I'm going to get this comment, and I want you to address it, because this comment that just came in is directly right in line with what you're saying. Our brother Hakeem in Jersey City is checking us out. And Hakeem said that Greg Hardy got the deal after his issue. If you're good or effective, that's the only thing that matters. Now, for those folks who are unfamiliar with the Greg Hardy thing, he was a Carolina Panther at the time. He roughed his lady up pretty good, threw her on a bed with a whole bunch of assault rifle weapons and stuff, which is scary enough that you're getting beat up. But then he throws you on a futon with guns. That's crazy. He had a bench trial. And the bench trial, he was found, correct me someone, I think he was found guilty in the bench trial. He appealed.
No, he was never found guilty.
Okay.
Because I was actually, I know that story because I was in Charlotte at the time.
Right, then you pick up there.
Let me,
he was found, I know he had a bench trial.
He did.
He had a bench trial.
And what they were going to, well, you talking about for the suspension? Oh,
no, I'm talking about how
they sealed that because she didn't testify.
That's what it was.
She never showed up to testify.
That's what it was.
Now, it's funny that you make that statement. And I said what my mother always said: if everybody keeps their hands in their pockets, nobody can get into an altercation like that. That altercation actually started in the square. If you go, if you're from the Charlotte area, if you know the Charlotte area, there's a place right there at Tryon and what is that? I can't remember the actual street. It's a cross street, but it's called the Square. And it's a 4-point intersection right there across from the Marriott Bank of America's main office and things of that nature. And they were actually there in the middle of the street arguing. And she hit him, and he jacked her up right there in the middle of the street. Hence, everybody had been drinking, da-da-da-da-da. And then that situation that you're referring to happened later on. So it was one of those situations where she did not come back and test. As a matter of fact, she didn't press charges. The state pressed charges. They'll do that now. Also, if the women are too scared to actually press charges, then the state will pick it up and press charges for you because it's a menacing act, and that's the bad part about that. And it's just that ticks you off, like you said, Greg Hardy. If the money train, the dude made money playing football. He's a beast on the field. But to use that intimidation that you have on the field to circumvent your will and power over somebody else, whether it be man, but in this situation, a woman, can then physically cannot protect herself, that to me, that's just coward.
I just wanted to say this really quick. I really think that a lot of it stems to, again, mental illness, whatever type of mental illness you want to speak of. Because also in the Michel'le movie, she stated, and actually on the Breakfast Club when she had her interview with them, they were kind of upset because she was still trying to take up for Dr. Dre, but she basically said in his defense, he only beat me when he was drunk. That's what she said. He never beat her, when he was sober. So, listening to Ms. Jane say the same thing as far as that her husband only did that to, her when he was under the influence. But again, too, then you have to reach the point, why are they drinking so much? What got them to this place? Was their father, was their mother alcoholic? Did their mother beat their father, vice versa? Did the father beat the mother? So again, it all from the first smack, I had a guy that I was actually dating who was quote unquote told me that he was getting out of a relationship, and we had been talking for a while, and we actually worked with some of the same people. And this particular night, he went home, and his girlfriend that he was about to break up with, her daughter actually did not care for him. So like 2 weeks prior, the daughter had said, I can't wait till my mom leaves you. And she was 17 at the time. And even the girlfriend's sister said, you need to leave him because, he's going to end up killing you. Well, fast forward 2 weeks, he goes home, sees that she has a bag packed like she's about to leave, and she was asleep. So he goes in the room, shoots her one time in the back of the head and one time in the back. Of course, it killed her. Her daughter ran in, just him turning around. He shot her twice in the arm, but she was able to run to the neighbor's house to call the police, of course. He leaves the house, gets on the highway, but he turns back around, comes back to the house, and waits for the police. Of course, now he's serving 33, but that was like maybe about 10 years ago. But again, so knowing the signs, like Ms. Jane said too, sometimes you just can't leave. Sometimes you don't know why. And you stick around again till it's too late. I'm glad that Ms. Jane and others are able to get out when it's time. But again, I think it all just comes back to mental illness, like really finding out the root of the problem for everybody.
Well, you know what I realized, because he only did it when he was drunk, my first husband. But what I realized, and him and I actually sat down and talked after we divorced, was that's no excuse. You're responsible for your behavior no matter what, whether you're under drugs, whether you're drinking. And if you have this problem from having bad parents or whatever, it's up to you as an adult to get treatment, to get help. You have no excuse. I have no excuse to hit anybody. You have no excuse to hit anyone. It comes from having a temper, and that temper is manifested by whatever it is. But it's up to you as an adult to deal with it. And I think when you get into a position like you're an NFL player, you're an NBA player, you're a baseball player, and you're making lots of money, and they see the value in you, they're going to do whatever they have to do to protect you because they don't want to lose that money. You're a franchise player or something like that. They're not going to risk losing you. So they will push everything under the carpet. They will keep the women quiet. They will give the women what they want, money, whatever you want. It won't happen again. You're going to ruin his whole career. He just made a mistake. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hakeem is reminding us to just make sure the record is correct. The situation with Ray Rice, he actually downplayed the severity of it prior to the video coming out, which was another part of the reason why the backlash on him was so hard. I mean, obviously, it should have been hard because of what he did, but it of course, that's the reason why it's so bad with him, and it's likely the reason why he got blackballed out of the league. Aint No Half Steppin with Marcus J. live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're in the Diva Diaries. We're talking about domestic violence, and we started it off talking about the Michel'le movie, and we ended up kind of talking a little bit about the domestic violence in the NFL and some of the violence that we've seen in that area. Diva?
Let's talk a little bit about how we can help the victim. How can we empower or encourage the victim, the person who's in the situation, to get out safely? Because I think that's very important. I mean, it's going to continue as a cycle if it's not broken. So anybody want to, talk on that, speak on that?
Well, it's really a realization for the woman. It's something that she has to understand that she can get out of it. A lot of them feel stuck either because maybe he's the breadwinner and she doesn't work, maybe she's home with the kids. I mean, my situation, I was single, so it was easier for me. But you're still in this situation, and you think you're in love, and you think you have to make this work because you're married. And that's the way I was brought up. My parents were married a long time. I didn't want to go through a divorce, da-da-da-da-da. So it took me about 3 years. But I eventually made up my mind. I got mad one night when he came home, and he tried to hit me. And you know what I did? I hit him and broke his glasses and broke his nose. He never touched me again, and I filed for divorce. It's not good for me to hit back, but my point was I don't want him to think that I'm not afraid of you.
Oh, that
and
was
I'm
good.
taking
No,
control.
yeah.
No, that was good.
I don't know
And
if
I'm
Facebook
taking
Live
control.
can see
And
me.
he never laid another hand on me, and we stayed in the same house for probably 3 months or something. But I took back my power. You know, you
I'm
have
glad you
to
did.
become, you can't be fearful. You have to take back your power and do whatever you have to do to get out of the situation. It can take a long time to recover after it because you have to build back up your self-esteem and your worth, but it can happen.
I have a quick question for you, Jane. Did your friends or family members, anybody, like, notice something different about you?
Because I was living at the time in Radford and my family was all in Fredericksburg, so I didn't really, the only family I had was really his family and friends because I just graduated college and, you know, I was kind of out of my element. So, no one really noticed because I didn't tell anybody. And I hid my injuries, so.
And you know, I have Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're getting a hit in Facebook Live. Our sister LM says, as a mental health practitioner, I must say mental illness is not the root cause. I'll agree. Childhood trauma does affect one's resilience. However, some individuals are just low down. I'm an advocate for mental health, but I'm tired of people using it as a means of obtaining fiscal sustainability and as a crutch. And her and Dana are going back and forth in the Facebook Live comments. First Lady?
I think sometimes too, like women in the present time, when they know that if they get a restraining order, that, you know, how will that actually help? Because we know a lot of times that when women get restraining orders, the day that it's up, that's when the person comes and attacks or something happens. So I think that a lot of the women, you know, if they're not strong enough to feel that they can get out, they have to know that they have a guaranteed support system or something in place, a law that can guarantee that they're going to be safe and won't have to worry about, again, that attacker coming to them the day that their restraining order or whatever else may be, you know, expired or what have you. So I think, you know, again, the laws that protect women and men against domestic violence would also help, you know, reassure a lot of people coming forward as well.
Yes, I agree. That's very, very important. What do you think, Big Brother Joe?
I have a lot of different views on this one. First of all, you know how I feel about, I've already stated that I don't think you're a man if you go putting your hands on a woman, period.
Right.
I mean, I've been in situations where women have peripheralated the situation, came at me. What do? Do I deflect? Do I hit back? Do I duck? Do I slap? What do I do? What I did was push them out the way. But that's just something that I could do at the time. Well, hold on for a minute.
Finish your point.
Finish my point real quick. I don't think that it's...
Hold on, caller.
Well, like I said, I just don't believe, and I believe what LM said earlier, I'm sick and tired of us using the excuse that people, the mental illness is going to get you, because you know what, that's a crutch that we can just go back on and say, well, it's a mental illness. Okay, you get drunk. If you get drunk, fine, get drunk. If you want to go beat up something, go beat up a wall if that's what you want to beat up.
Right.
Why take it out on somebody else who is 9 chances out of 10 physically unable to do anything to you? But caller, you're on the live here at Legacy Internet Radio. You want to go ahead and answer a question, or you got a comment for what we were speaking about now?
I can answer a question.
Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Nadasha Graddick Flood. I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia.
Thank you for listening and thank you for calling. What's your comment?
Hold on before you speak. This is my friend, Nadasha. I was on social media with her, and they have this whole domestic violence movement going on right now.
Okay.
They got a movie about it and everything, so I asked her to call in because they're actually having an event where tomorrow, actually, about domestic violence.
Okay. Would you like me to repose the question, the topic we're discussing?
Sure, that would be great.
The last thing we were talking about is how to help empower the victim, the person that is in that situation. How can we help them, you know, from the outside looking in? How can we help them get out of that situation?
That is an awesome question. Just a little background on me. I am a 2-time domestic violence survivor, and God has just kind of opened up the doors to let me be an advocate for that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I always tell people to be very careful when you're dealing with somebody that's actually in a domestic violence situation. It's a lot easier for us to say just leave and to get out, and a lot of times it's not that easy. We don't quite know the background, we don't know the history, and we don't know if that's going to lead the aggressor to do more aggressive behavior.
Right.
So the best thing I can offer to people is to ask the person that's in a situation if they have a plan, because what we have to remember is that a lot of times people in these situations, they already have their power and control being taken from them. And so when somebody comes to them and says, just leave, get your stuff, I'm coming to get you, we're going to leave right now, you're only further perpetuating, taking away their control and their power. So ask that person, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? And if you do, how can I be a part of that plan? So then you give them the power and you give them the control back. And if their plan is, I want to leave, I want to be able to get out, but I want to get out with my children, then think about how you can help them get out with their children. Can you be a babysitter? Can you be an excuse for them to their aggressor to say, hey, she had to come help me and the kids stayed with me. So now the kids aren't in a situation where she has to worry about them or he has to worry about them. They can just get themselves out. So ask the person that's in the situation, do you have a plan, and how can I be a part of that plan? That's the best way that you can actively help somebody that's in that situation.
That's an awesome answer you gave. So you have to have a plan in order to
You got to have a
move
plan.
successfully.
Got to have a plan. And there are a lot of resources out there, and a lot of times folks like where I used to be, when we're in it, we don't know what the resources are. And just depending on the state that you're in, sometimes the resources are readily available, sometimes they aren't. And having gone through my second domestic violence situation in the state of Virginia, the resources were not very helpful to someone in my situation with children, and children of two different sexes, of female and male sex. Because what happens is a lot of times you show up at shelters, they won't let you stay because you have a son, or vice versa. So we need to know what the resources are out there, and a lot of times people in those situations don't know what they are, and they're so limited. So it's so important to have a plan and to help them work that plan.
Okay. Thank you so much for that response.
Nadasha,
No
thank you so much for calling and contributing. Is there anything that you'd like to promote or tell us about one more time?
Definitely. We had the great fortune of hooking up with a wonderful photographer in the Richmond, Virginia area, Connie McGowan, who was doing a pictorial review of sorts of my life and of my story. And it kind of morphed into this film. There's a 12-minute film out there. You can see it on YouTube. It's called Loud Silence. If you look up Connie McGowan, go to her second video. It's out there. It's 12 minutes long. But we're also doing a viewing at Loft 17, downtown Main Street, Richmond, Virginia. Tomorrow starts at 5, and we'll actually view the video at 7 p.m. And we're having a chat and chew. We're having men come out and talk about this particular issue, domestic violence, and how they can be a help. What is the standard? What's the expectation? And a lot of times I don't think that men tend to broach the subject as much. And so I think it's going to be a great conversation. Again, that starts at 7, the viewing and the conversation, but there'll be happy hour specials from 5 to 7. That's at Loft 17, downtown Richmond, Virginia.
Thank you. I'm humbled by that. Thank you for calling. Thank you for listening. And we definitely hope that the folks that are listening to the sound of your voice participate, because it sounds like it's going to be an outstanding thing to do.
It's going to be an outstanding event. And if there is anybody out there listening that needs help, that's in a situation, you can find me directly at Lashin Out LLC. That's LASHIN OUT LLC. My messaging and everything is public, so feel free, reach out and let me know, and we can talk about resources and we can talk about making a plan.
You got it. Have a good night, okay?
Awesome. Thank you. You too.
Thank you
got
for
it.
calling.
Thank you, hon.
And you know how Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. My brother Bobby is checking me out. What's up, Bobby? Appreciate you, brother. I hope to see you at our spot soon. And you know how Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Diva.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up. I
Okay.
appreciate you guys for participating, especially you, Jane, for sharing your personal story. That was really good for you to share that. It may empower someone else in that
It
situation.
was a long time ago, but I think she's perfect about having a plan, have friends, reach out to who you need to reach out to, because you've got to get out of that situation.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, that information, Jane, and the story is timeless. You know, and you mentioned it was a long time ago, but it's timeless.
Right.
You know, it's something that when you tell your story, you will help somebody.
Right.
Like, Shayna commented earlier, and I didn't get an opportunity to get her comment in, and my apologies to her, but she said that she wishes she would have seen this Michel'le movie 8 years ago.
Right.
When she started, her path, because it could have helped her, and the movie has absolutely helped some people. There's a couple of comments here in the limited time that we have left, Diva, that I want to get in. WB says that let's talk about the men that are getting beat by their women. That is definitely, I'm going to come back to that comment here in a minute. I'm going to read the rest of these, and then we'll come back to that. Dana she was thinking what happened in her childhood as a witness or self-esteem or some other, not having a real male figure. LM is agreeing with Nick. You're so right. It's more prevalent than you think, especially with teenagers. The reason why I wanted to come back to that because I wanted to comment on that. I've been fortunate because that's not something that I've ever dealt with, domestic violence in any way. I haven't been an aggressor and I haven't been, hurt in that way. But I would think, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that certain kinds of men would have a hard time dealing with that because you're dealing with, one, I'm a man, I'm not supposed to put my hands on a woman. Two, I can't believe she's beating me like this. Right. So there's those two competing emotions that you're dealing with, and the reality is your natural instinct is I'm gonna punch her in her mouth, but you obviously can't do that because your natural instinct is if somebody's hitting you to hit them back. But you've been trained, don't do that. And so WB, absolutely outstanding point that you make there, because, I'm this is just kind of not my area, and I'm only really speaking instinctually on how I think. But man, I can't imagine living in a world where you worry about somebody hitting you, like somebody hits you.
Well, let me ask this. I just wonder, and I know you say you've never been in that situation, but what do you think would be like the motivation for the male to stay in that situation? Like the female may stay because she's afraid, right, or whatever. But
I would guess, for a male to stay in a relationship where he's being abused, he has to be getting something that he feels that taking that abuse is worth it. Like there's for some kind of trade-off.
Well, there may be children.
Right. That might be the trade-off.
She might make more than him, and he can't live out on his own.
So
it's
love itself could be a motivation.
She might be a great lover. It could be any number.
Self-esteem issue. It could be a
flip this switch.
It could be a self-esteem issue.
Yes.
Because just as we say women have low self-esteem and let that happen, it could be the same for a man.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That's true.
And the one thing I remember, I went to some counseling after that happened, and I remember I was asking, because I got out of my situation pretty fast, but some people stay in it for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why would they stay in that? They're like, some people don't understand love. They have learned or were brought up that even if you're getting beat, that's attention from a parent. That's attention from a husband. Mm-hmm. Even though it's violence, it's still love. It's very hard to comprehend, but I understand it now. And I just remember, them saying that is not love. All that is someone who is insecure, who has to make you powerless for them to feel powerful. Yeah. That's really what it's all about. It's about control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I got a hit on my Instagram of a friend she's listening, and she said on an average nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, that's 10 million women and men. One in 3 women and 1 out of 4 men have been victim of physical violence by an intimate partner within a lifetime. And then she went on to say, I have learned society and media often shame the victim with statements, why do you stay? 20 years of working as a drug and alcohol counselor, I have gained insight into domestic violence. and she want us to please have a follow-up show.
Yeah, I think that
Okay,
this
thank
is
you for the
definitely
statistics
Yeah.
and
That was
information.
wonderful.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think this is definitely something that we can revisit again. WB says, "Pride to get you killed," and I agree with that. I don't get emotional very often on the show. I usually try to keep it light, but this was good, Diva. This was real good because we got to talk about something that we don't normally tackle, not just on this show, but anywhere, because the truth is, all of those things end up escalating eventually. There's a case right here in Richmond, Virginia, where a guy was beating his girlfriend or his child's mother, whatever she was, and he ended up killing her and then killing himself. And, you know, many of us remember hearing that story. It was just a few weeks ago right here in Richmond. And so, ladies, if he's hitting you, it's gonna get worse.
Right.
Just know it's gonna get worse until that day. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it can, when he really loses it even more than he has and something tragic happens. So, you know, there's any number of ways to get help, and just know that, you know, you don't deserve that.
Right.
Can
right.
I say
You
something
can interject,
positive?
yes.
Just something positive out of this. And I know
Absolutely.
it's hard to look
Yeah.
at it. We go through situations, and this is the spirituality part of me speaking. We go through everything for a reason. There's a lesson to learn from everything. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be where I am in my life if I had not gone through it. Because I learned that that I can be a stronger person, that I can be in control, that I don't have to let men treat me that way. And I've been single now for, 8 months, 9 months now, and I'm fine. You know, everybody's like, oh, why don't you have a boyfriend? Because I enjoy being around my friends. I can date who I want when I want, but I'm very, very picky about who I get into a relationship with. Because if my intuition goes off, anything he does, you know, temper, snap decisions, you know, they say if you treat animals bad, you will treat a woman or your mother or anybody
Right.
that, you know, that kind of thing. So I think out of it, I gained strength. So my message is to anybody who's either in it or just survived, you know, you can come out of it stronger.
Right.
Because, you know, take something positive out of a negative.
Right. I'm glad you were able to learn from that and grow from it, and teaching and learning other people the same thing. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you guys for being part of the discussion. I'm sorry it was kind of heavy. I had some fun stuff planned,
No,
but
the
we're
heavy
running
was
out of
good.
time.
Yeah, the fun.
It's all a balance. It's all a balance.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
the balance. We had a little
think
fun
about
in the
it. We have
beginning.
inspired somebody to now know exactly what to do in that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have just sent somebody
That's right. If
The
you
message
save,
they
special
needed.
message that
if
they
you
they
saved a
needed.
life tonight, that's what it all.
Tell them
That's
to
what it
hug
means at
their
the end of the
animals,
day.
right?
That's
Hug
what
their
it-
animals.
That's what it's all about. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take our final break of the night. We come back, everybody's going to rant, everybody's going to close. Of course, I have been giving you guys history moments, so I'm going to give you a history moment. This one is a first. It's a history first. So I look forward to bringing that to you. I've got left in the room, Mr. 3375, Dating Pool Diva, our sisters, Lady Di, and our sister Jane. Marcus J, ain't no half stepping with yours truly. Be back in a few, y'all. Stay with us.